And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday night live on the GSMC Sports Network to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling. Make sure you guys Superman punch that like and subscribe button so you can get a notification when we go live and publish new content. Well, guys, we recently talked about, some Zelina Vega. We talked about SmackDown. We talked about Gunther choking out Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee, obviously, awesome guy. I'm a LinkedIn, well, not LinkedIn, but I'm following him on all his social medias. He's an interesting character, and I feel like WWE is lucky to have him. That's my opinion, 1,010%. But without further ado, we got men's post-WrestleMania Pressure Cooker. So who's gonna be cooking slowly? Who's basically who needs to step up? First and foremost, when with the whole Paul Heyman thing and Seth Rollins thing, it makes sense. It made sense. Seth obviously in need of a Paul Heyman to be like a Paul Heyman guy to kind of get him into the next level. I forgot who said it. I think it was on the Busted Open podcast. I'm not too sure which host said it. But, Seth Rollins is where Roman Reigns was before Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman helped Roman Reigns reach basically God, like superstar status here. And then on Monday Night Raw, CM Punk comes out, and then Roman Reigns comes out, and then you have Braun Breaker can randomly come out. And I was like, you know what? Okay. Like, I get it. Like, I know WWE has kind of been shying away from, let's just make these guys total heels. I feel like you would, under the Triple H Paul Levesque era, he's taken a lot of influence from the, their sister company, UFC. There's some bad guys in UFC, but then they're not necessarily bad. They have their own fans. They have their own personalities. You like them or you hate them. That's just what happens. And Seth Rollins right now, people still cheer for Rollins. Braun Breaker was never a bad guy. I don't think he's going to be pictured as a bad guy. I feel like it would kind of hurt this trio with that perception. But where's it going to go? Where's it going to go? If there's a reason why these three came together, like let's make it happen. Let's find out. And I think it'll eventually find out. The Rock whiffed on WrestleMania 41, where you thought that we were going to get somebody to be like in his group with John Cena. And, are we going to see them go at it? You know what I mean? Is Roman Reigns and CM Punk going to be forced to team up to take down this new Paul Heyman regime? Or maybe they unveil a third guy. And then you have Brock Lesnar come back. And then you have the three former Paul Heyman guys, Lesnar, Punk, and Reigns, fight against the new Paul Heyman guys, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker. And, I can't really make a guess on who a third guy would be at this point. I read reports saying that maybe it could be Trick Williams. I wouldn't really hate that. I feel like that would be great for Trick. But, he did his thing in, TNA once when Joe Hendry retained the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. He came out, made a statement basically saying that I'm coming for your title. Especially with the WWE draft around the corner, this could absolutely be... This could be different. This could be different. WWE, like I said, is it's in after WrestleMania. WrestleMania is like the Super Bowl, like the NFL, but they don't have an off season. They basically go into the next season, and I definitely feel like this trio, they're in the pressure cooker. Show us what this means. Show us how we should feel about this. Next, I got Damien Priest. A little pressure cooker. I'm cooking a little bit here. After leaving the Judgment Day, he came to SmackDown, promising start, was very victorious, got into this feud with Drew McIntyre, and, Drew McIntyre is obviously at superstar level right now. Damien Priest still kind of feels like he belongs in the United States Championship picture, but, recently losing against Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania in that street fight, which was very hard fought. Maybe there was a different outcome. I saw reports that Damien Priest basically, he punctured a lung or almost had a punctured lung where he felt like he couldn't breathe. But then again, like you saw those chair shots, and those chair shots to the lower back from that McIntyre took, also Priest took. They looked pretty gruesome, man. It's crazy. But Damien Priest, I feel like this is going to, basically set the tone. Is Damien Priest going to be in the WWE Championship picture, back in the World's Heavyweight Championship picture, or is he going to kind of fizzle out? And not fizzle out meaning that I'm, crapping on the Intercontinental Championship and United States Championship division. All those guys absolutely absolute bangers. Damien Priest, he wants to, kind of have the perception that he is a main eventer. He should main event WrestleMania. I'm telling Damien Priest, you got to show me what you got, kid. Next, we have the New Day. We have the New Day. We had them turn heel, break up, shoot down Big E, basically saying that, you broke your neck a long time ago. When are you coming back? You left us. You abandoned us. You broke your neck. So what? Like, where were you? Like, it was like little kid stuff. Like, it got a lot of pop. It got the, like what kind of what Karrion Kross said in that pipe bomb, how WWE is sacrificing storylines for viral moments. And this is something that I talked about too earlier this year, when I was like, look, if you're going to break up the New Day, you're going to break them up, it needs to be great. They recently won the WWE, World Tag Team Championships, obviously, kudos, congratulations. But now what's going to happen next? In the tag team division, that's absolutely struggling. I feel like it does kind of need to mirror SmackDown, where you need Raw needs about 2 or 3 more teams to make it legit. At least. 1,010%. And I was like, if you have the New Day stay face, I feel like they are more marketable. Now whenever they come out to the ring, fans are booing them. It's kind of like, now it seems like they're kind of wasted pieces of the puzzle, I guess you can say. Maybe, in a couple of weeks or like a month where they do something and I'm like, oh, you know what, I was wrong, which I will admit, if it happens. But I hated it. I didn't like the heel turn because I was like, are they literally just having that pop that's going to, be the New Day for about like 1 to 2 months. And then on your 3rd month, you're like, okay, now what do we do with these guys? As baby faces, you can have them, be anywhere. You could have had Kofi win, the Intercontinental Championship. You could have had Xavier win the United States Championship. And the fans would have been behind him. And, the whole New Day thing with the pancakes and the bootios, very, very, the fans loved it. They loved it 1,010%. Now they don't get to have it because they wanted, they wanted them to kick Big E out of New Day, and I thought it was stupid. Like, they are World Tag Team Champions. I feel like this year they really kind of need to, set the tone here. Next, I got Jey Uso, the new World Heavyweight Champion. Not against Jey Uso. I respect Jey Uso. Him winning the Royal Rumble was a little, it was shocking. It was shocking 1,010%. But now you have Jey Uso holding the title. And, that match with Gunther, didn't really live up to potential of a lot of wrestling fans. I'm not the only one. The way he tapped out Gunther just wasn't really all that great. Now Jey Uso all by himself, the Yeet Man. He's over with the WWE audience, so putting the belt around him obviously, makes sense. And he does have the skills. He definitely does possess the in-ring skill shape that he could, use to have a successful title run. But if this guy loses the belt in like 2 to 3 months, I got to be honest, this title reign will probably be one of the ones to kind of forget. Will Jey hold it to the next WrestleMania? I got to be honest, all signs turn to no, point toward no. Who could take the belt off of, I feel like to make this, and I talked about it earlier, of this Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker regime kind of come. Are they going to be the next evolution? You have Seth Rollins as Triple H, and Ric Flair as Paul Heyman, and Braun Breaker is is Batista, and I don't know. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. I feel like Jey Uso definitely, like I said, he's great inside the ring. Keep showing us what you have, kid. I feel like, let's just do it. Next, I got, another Bloodline member. I got Jakob. I got Jakob Fatu. I was talking about it during my SmackDown review. I feel like he will lose the United States Championship because of Solo Sikoa, either at Backlash or heading up towards Saturday night's main event. The fans want to see the Solo Sikoa, Jakob Fatu feud more than a United States Championship run at this time. In the future, put the belt around Jakob. We'll love it. 1,010%. I would love to see Jakob Fatu hold the championship. And, now he's, like you saw it on SmackDown. Seems like he's kind of stepping away from the family. Tonga Loa injured. Tamatonga injured. And, now he kind of needs to stand up on his own 2 feet. So right now this feud with Solo Sikoa would ultimately make sense, but then you can have Solo, much like what Solo did to Roman Reigns, you can have Solo be absolutely ignorant, like totally obnoxious, to the point where fans will warm up to Jakob Fatu more than they actually already have had. So, that could be a plan that WWE is ultimately setting up for. I feel like it'd be great, but I would like to see Jakob Fatu do a lot of great things this upcoming year. Dominic Mysterio wins the the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. So many different suitors. Finn Balor, I feel like is underrated and deserves a title. Penta, up and coming. He's successful in it himself right now. Just him being in WrestleMania is super badass, and the things that he does on Monday Night Raw from week to week is kind of already Penta's. He's cool. He's good, man. Braun Breaker, I feel like will emerge into the World Heavyweight Championship picture. But, him aligning with Seth Rollins makes me think that maybe that's on a delay. And it looks like Seth Rollins might be the next one to challenge Jey Uso. Because Gunther, he's taking some time off. He will not be invoking a rematch. Well, maybe he will. Maybe he will get a rematch. But he's not going to win. He's not going to win. Jey Uso is going to hold the championship. So then a lot of people are like, okay, so what's next? For Dominic Mysterio, finally winning singles gold. He is the leader of the Judgment Day. WWE tailor making their storyline around Dominic Mysterio's Intercontinental Championship run. So now, you have JD come back, Carlito. Finn Balor seems like he's on the outside looking in at the moment. I feel like they'll finally create this feud that we've been waiting for a pretty long time. We'll see Dirty Dominic Mysterio taking on Finn Balor. Loser leaves the Judgment Day. I feel like that'll be a great storyline that happens on draft night. And then after that, Finn Balor gets drafted to SmackDown and maybe, create a little buzz there. I got my 7th and last superstar. I got Logan Paul. Logan Paul, he talks the talk, he walks the walk on WWE. On Monday Night Raw, he's, his promos are a little, it takes a while for the wheels to spin, but when they do, it's awesome. It's cool. In the ring, he's phenomenal. And it's kind of, play on words. Obviously, he beat AJ Styles, obviously, with Karrion Kross's, interference or distraction. But Logan Paul, always wants, he says it on his Impulsive podcast. He said it when he was talking to Michael Cole, how I'm getting some going away heat from the fans. I feel like they still kind of see me as an outsider, and I'm not confirming nor denying that information. I feel like what makes Logan special is his ability to be determined to go out there and grab what you want. Him and his brother started a YouTube channel. You can think of it as shortcutting all you want. But at the end of the day, he wanted to do something. He went out there. His brother's doing boxing. Logan Paul, total superstar, has his own podcast now. He's gifted. He's talented. He has what it takes to be a superstar. You need to give this guy the Money in the Bank briefcase. You really do. And I know this upcoming Money in the Bank, actually it's going to be in Los Angeles, which is pretty cool. But now you have him in this predicament where you got to pull the trigger. You have to pull the trigger, or else this guy's still just in WWE running amok on Monday Night Raw. He's a troll. A lot of people compare him. He's just trolling around, and that's not what he needs right now. He's not a part timer. He's not featured on Raw every week where he should be. He should be wrestling matches, at least 2 or 3 times a month, at least. And we're not really getting that right now with Logan Paul. We're not. Maybe he's the next Paul Heyman guy. I'm not too sure. Maybe. But I feel like with Logan Paul winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, he would be one of the best heel champs of all time. He cashes in on Jey Uso that same night. Bam. Jey Uso has a nice little reign. Yeah, Jey Uso's a main eventer. He's a World Heavyweight Championship holder. Logan Paul comes in. Cheap way to win. Kind of the way a lot of people thought, the way he came into WWE, having shortcuts. It just plays to the narrative so much, and it needs to happen. I feel like obviously you will see in the Money in the Bank, you'll see Roman Reigns competing, you'll see Seth Rollins probably, you'll see CM Punk running it back, and I don't want to see any of those guys hold the Money in the Bank briefcase. I gotta be honest, I really don't. I feel like their time, the Money in the Bank briefcase last year with Drew McIntyre was wasted, and it just, I don't know. It's just they need to pull the trigger on Logan Paul. He needs to continue to be phenomenal. So we, can find out, if he's gonna stick around WWE or not, because it'd be terrible if he left, and I would hate that. All right, we talked about the men's pressure cooker post WrestleMania. Now we are going to talk about the women. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here in about 25 seconds. So hey, do not go anywhere.